on to get out if a judge finds they're not dangerous or a flight risk. But now, under this latest ruling from the DOJ's Board of Immigration Appeals, if you enter the country without a legal status and you're taken in by ICE, bond is no longer an option. Utah immigration attorney Adam Craig tells me this leaves them with the choices of staying in custody for months or being taken to the airport without being able to get their affairs in order.
So if they own a house, or if they have children who are born here or citizens and they are the primary caregiver, then we have to scramble to try and get a power of attorney done, or it causes all sorts of scrambling, and then it places a lot of burden on the system.
Craig says he believes this ruling harms due process, and he also worries this will cause more overcrowding at detention facilities. He says appeals are coming and could very likely end up before the U.S. Supreme Court. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We've reached out to our local ICE offices and immigration prosecutors who said they cannot comment on this. We are still waiting for a response from federal ICE officials. Utah businesses are facing a different kind of knock at the door, not from customers, but from federal agents. We continue our team coverage live with KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Maria, imagine running a small business when an armed ICE officer shows up, handing you a 72-hour notice to turn over all your employee records. Immigration attorney Joshua Irvine says that's becoming more common, especially in industries like construction and hospitality.
When a company that's a small to mid-sized company gets all of a sudden a $100,000 bill, that literally requires them to either lay people off, or some of them have had to close the door.
Irvine says the problem is hitting smaller Utah companies hardest, with penalties that can devastate their workforce.
They're our neighbors. They're building our communities. They need to know that these things are happening, and they need to be aware of how to make sure that these things are done the right way.
Irvine urges businesses to double-check their hiring paperwork now because, in his words, it's not if ICE shows up, but when. ICE has declined to comment. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
We will have more of our coverage on the immigration crackdown in Utah posted at kslnewsradio.com. KSL's top national stories. Dozens of workers at a food plant near Syracuse, New York, now have an uncertain future after ICE agents raided their workplace. Acting attorney for the Northern District of New York, John Sarcone, says that 5 out of the 57 who were arrested have been detained and accused of re-entering the U.S. illegally. Sarcone also says the others are being deported and that an investigation is being launched into the employer.
To employers across the Northern District of New York, heed this warning. We will aggressively pursue criminal investigation against those who violate our laws by employing non-citizens without authorization. There will be consequences. The bad old days of turning a blind eye are over.
New York's governor says that she's outraged by the raids and that children were unaware that their parents would be swept up in them. Jury selection continues today in Florida as the trial of Ryan Ruth, the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump at a Florida golf course. ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky says Ruth is representing himself, and Judge Aileen Cannon has put limits on what Ruth can do.
The judge has said she does not want the trial to devolve into controlled chaos, so she's allowing Ryan Ruth some wiggle room, but not a lot. She rejected a lot of his witnesses that he wanted to bring, people opposed to Trump's policies, Trump himself. So his case is going to be limited to friends and family, some people that can attest maybe to his character.
Katursky says he seemed to be asking potential jurors questions to see if they like President Trump, but the judge called his questions politically charged. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. U.S. employers added far fewer jobs in 2024 and early 2025 than previously thought, indicating the labor market may have been significantly weaker than initial estimates had suggested. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
The White House is using this new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, showing a significant downward revision in jobs over the period from April 2024 to March 2025 to criticize the previous administration. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement, the benchmark revision shows that, quote, Biden's economy was a disaster and the BLS is broken. The report comes after President Trump fired the commissioner of the BLS in August, accusing the agency without evidence of releasing numbers that were rigged and insisting that economic data should not be manipulated for political purposes. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Crews are going to start replacing rail lines where the Blue Line crosses 90th South this week, causing up to 30-minute delays for TRAX riders. Gavin Gustafson with UTA says they'll have to close the intersection for the work.
So we're going to have detours that will send drivers either to 94 South or 86 South.
Gustafson says they'll also have a bus bridge for Trax riders connecting the Midvale Center Station with the Sandy Civic Center Station. He says the project should be done by the 18th. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Small accident in Murray. You can see this over to the right shoulder going northbound on I-15 just after 5300 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
KSL's Football Friday.
BYU down the field. Jack Kelly, 30, 20, 10. He's going to score.
Special extended pregame. BYU Stanford starts at 6 with kickoff at 8:15 on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, immigration attorneys are warning employers that federal immigration agents have been stopping by to peek at employee records as they look for undocumented immigrants. KSL News Time 12:08. Friends and family of a late mother say they are moving forward after her youngest was hit and killed at a car wash. Family members say Angela Hansen was cleaning her car and her two youngest children were playing at a playground when her 2-year-old Ada went to find her mom. That's when a truck backed into her. Hansen's sister tells KSL TV they want to forgive.
I don't want this to be real. Nobody wants this to be real, but this is where we are and we just have to move forward, and there's no point in holding a grudge or holding negativity.
This incident, the first tragedy, isn't the first tragedy that the Hansens have been through. 2 years ago, her husband died in a drowning accident. A Utah task force is studying how to help men thrive. They say it comes down to health, career, and purpose. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
Nick Dunn, the Vice President of Strategy at the Sutherland Institute, tells Inside Sources a strong work ethic, education, families, and faith can create pillars of a happy life. But more and more men are drifting away from those anchors.
There is a significant number of men that are essentially saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do. What is my role in society? And that's something that it's going to take a lot of work to figure out.
Dunn says over a third of men surveyed say they struggle to find purpose, and about a third say they don't feel they have anyone close to speak to about their problems. Dunn says in their task force they will focus on how to help give men this purpose and feel it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
The president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints turned 101 years old today. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports he shared a message this morning on X.
President Russell M. Nelson says he's truly humbled to be celebrating his 101st birthday with his children so close, whether in person or forever in his heart. He says even though they're adults with children, grandchildren, and even a great-grandchild of their own, he still feels the tenderness he felt for them when they were small enough to rock in his arms.
President Nelson's post also says the world needs peacemakers, so please be kind. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky, what's going on?
We do have a small accident that's just pulling away right now, northbound I-15, just after 53rd South in Murray. It really didn't affect drivers since it was out of traffic on the shoulder. In fact, I-15 looking really good and delay-free, and that's through Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. In Weber County, we do have an accident just west of I-15 in the far west area at about 20th West, 2700 North. Now, I can't actually see the accident itself. However, with our travel sensors, there does seem to be a little bit of backup in that area, so just watch for crews on the scene. The BYU Department of Dance presents World of Dance, featuring BYU's finest ballroom, contemporary ballet, Native American, and folk dance ensembles. September 25th through 27th at the Marriott Center. Tickets at BYUOnstage.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 88 degrees, but breezy out of the south. 65 overnight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow's windy, partly cloudy skies, 87. We keep it breezy and partly cloudy on Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 82 degrees downtown. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. How do you talk about suicide with friends and family who may be struggling with their mental health? We'll talk to a doctor from Draper about it. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
No parades, no confetti, just quiet wins that changed everything.
Real people, real results. Soda weight loss works. Just ask Ramon.
Tying my shoes without grunting, taking stairs without gasping, running around with my kids without needing a break. That's what Soda gave me. In 16 weeks, I dropped 82 pounds.
Let that sink in. He lost 82 pounds. That's amazing.
Think about all that weight lifted off your bones. I owe my life to Soda. That's not hyperbole. With Soda, you don't feel alone. You get your own nutritionist guiding you every step along the way.
What are you waiting for? Just imagine your friends and family's reactions when you show up at holiday parties 30, 40, 50 pounds lighter. Get started now for the best season of your life with our partner program. Because when you join now, your partner joins for free.
Go to sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. SodaWeightLoss.com. SodaWeightLoss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the federal government is now ordering ICE to keep many immigrants in custody without the option of posting a bond to get out. A ruling one attorney claims flips immigration law on its head. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, Russell M. Nelson, turned 101 years old today. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
We do have lanes restricted due to road work if you're traveling eastbound on Pioneer Crossing, trying to get to I-15 at 3rd East, you will see that an inside lane is blocked, and we have had backups to about 1100, 1500 West. Also, northbound State Street at 9th South, right lane blocked to traffic. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm and breezy with some clouds today. I'm Matt Johnson.
82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. For the first time, Israel has carried out a strike in Qatar. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking at the U.S. Embassy in Israel called it a targeted strike against Hamas leaders based in Qatar's capital of Doha. Netanyahu says Israel acted alone.
Terrorists who planned, terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th.
Qatari officials say a member of Qatari's internal security force was killed in the Israeli strike, and there are multiple injuries. The UN has condemned the strike, saying it poses a setback to ceasefire talks. At today's White House briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt issued the first response by the U.S. since Israel struck inside Qatar.
The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now.
The strike follows yesterday's bus attack in Jerusalem and comes as Israeli forces ordered mass evacuations in Gaza City as it continues its military push. The Supreme Court giving the Trump administration a green light to resume roving immigration raids in Los Angeles. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
This is a big win for President Trump and his administration's aggressive immigration enforcement tactics. The Supreme Court lifting restrictions on ICE agents operating in California, allowing them to target, stop, and detain people based solely on their race, the fact that they speak Spanish, where they gather, or what type of work they do. Factors that a lower court judge had deemed unconstitutional. The Fourth Amendment, of course, protects against unlawful searches and seizures.
U.S. employers added far fewer jobs over a 12-month span than what was previously posted. The revised government statistics show 911,000 fewer jobs between April 2024 to March of this year.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. It's Suicide Prevention Week, and unfortunately, the stigma surrounding suicide and mental health makes many people feel awkward or uncomfortable talking about it. It often prevents people from asking for help if they need it as well. Joining me now live is Dr. Christopher Valentine, who is based in Draper. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for taking the time.
So tell us a little bit about the mental health crisis in Utah and who is most at risk.
Well, really, it can affect all kinds of demographics, all kinds of risk factors, but really we're very concerned about teen suicide, particularly amongst young people with depression. There are also a lot of individuals, young people who identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual who might have a higher prevalence. And other affected groups like veterans, as well as people who work in mining and construction.
So what are some of the common signs and risk factors?
We're concerned about individuals that are more withdrawn. I think that there are a lot of different risk factors that can contribute to this, a lot more than we can discuss here, but some of the top ones would be substance use, bullying, social isolation, violence in the community, maybe having a history of mental health issues or a previous suicide attempt. Any of these can contribute to an elevated risk for suicide.
It is kind of tough, kind of awkward to have conversations around mental health and suicide, especially with children. How do we best go about that?
That's a good point. It is very difficult sometimes. Maybe this is already part of the conversation that you have in your families, but if it's not, it can be hard to initiate some of these conversations. And so really starting and inquiring and just asking about how your kids are doing when we're talking about teens. I know my own experience with my own teens and being able to kind of keep that open dialogue, which is harder, I realize, in this age group, but we have some tools that are some good conversation starters that can make it easier for parents or other family members to start a conversation. This is available at optumconversation.com, OPTUM conversation.com. It's just a free resource. It has a bunch of kind of conversation questions to ask about your teen, about what are things that they're anxious about or what are some of the things that they look forward to.
All right. Anything you'd like to add before I let you go?
If anybody has any kind of feelings of suicide or concerns, they can always call or text 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which is also available at 1-800-273-TALK, and can also go to 988.lifeline.org to get immediately connected online.
All right, Dr. Valentine, thanks for your help today.
Hey, thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Dr. Christopher Valentine. He is based in Draper. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
It is a delay-free drive on all of your Salt Lake County freeways. If you happen to be on I-15, good speeds and no problems both directions between Ogden and Provo. KSL Traffic Trooper Bob gave us a heads up of debris in the road. It's in the fast lane over to the left, southbound I-215's west belt just before 700 North. Keep an eye out for that, but no other problems at this time. The 9th annual My Gluten-Free World Expo is being held September 26th and 27th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Come see over 100 vendors showcasing the best of gluten-free. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 88 today. Partly cloudy skies and a little breezy out of the south, gusting to 20 to 25. Windy tomorrow, gusting to 30, even 35 at times. 87 the high, partly cloudy. 81, partly cloudy on Thursday, but a 20% chance for a shower, still breezy. Bringing in a chance for showers and thunderstorms on Friday, 76. We'll go for 75 on Saturday, partly cloudy, beautiful weekend. 82, partly cloudy on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 82 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Dow up by more than 200 points, about 0.5% right now. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
This summer, your carpets saw it all. Dirt, dust, even pet mess. This autumn, it's time to fall back in love with your home with Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zero-Res uses patented ZR water technology to clean the right way with no harsh chemicals or sticky residues. That means carpets stay cleaner longer, dry in just hours, and are safe for kids and pets. Plus, Zero-Res backs it up with their Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not happy, they'll re-clean it free within 30 days. And right now, get the carpet of any room cleaned for just $43 and take 15% off air duct cleaning services when you mention KSL. Fall back in love with your carpets today. Schedule online at zerores.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero-Res is the right way to clean.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No. We tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes. Our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first. Because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
KSL News Time, 1225. Microsoft is calling its workers back to the office.
According to an internal memo viewed by the Seattle Times, the company will require employees to be in the office 3 days a week. That starts at the end of February for those who live within 50 miles of a Microsoft office in the Puget Sound area. The policy will eventually apply to offices across the country and around the world, but it's not exactly clear when that will happen. In that memo, Microsoft's Chief Human Resources Officer says employees deliver stronger results when they work together in person. Frank Lindsay, Cairo News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, Apple has kicked off its live event today with a whole slew of new devices and tech. Their unveiling included new Apple Watches and their Apple AirPods Pro 3, which boasts of real-time translation during calls. Toyota is looking to consolidate Lexus production sites in the U.S. Reuters reports production will likely be contained to one plant because of tariffs. It could strengthen U.S. production of hybrid vehicles. Red Lobster has learned from its mistake with Endless Shrimp. They are now pivoting to a different promotion, Spendless Shrimp. It offers 3 shrimp flavors for about $16. It's not Endless Shrimp for $20, though. That deal ended up costing the company $11 million in losses. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 229 points. That's a full 0.5%, sitting at 45,744. S&P is up by 13 points. The Nasdaq up by 26. Roblox is trying to clean up its reputation after facing intense criticism from parents and a lawsuit from at least one state. The popular online gaming platform is now putting measures in place to protect its youngest players.
Roblox now requires subscribers to submit a selfie when they sign up to verify the player's age.
It makes everyone feel better, about the fact that they have a facial recognition component,
says criminologist Dr. Alex Del Carmen.
The reality is that there are so many loopholes.
In the end, he says parents can turn off the Roblox feature that enables their kids to communicate with strangers. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
KSL's Football Friday.
BYU down the field, Jack Kelly, 30, 20, 10, he's going to score!
Special extended pregame. BYU Stanford starts at 6 with kickoff at 8:15 on KSL News Radio.
You need a deck. You want a pool. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A. member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Let's check in now with Ricky Meese.
We do have good speeds up and down the I-15 corridor in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. The rest of your Salt Lake County freeways also delay-free. If you're headed northbound on State Street, we do have the orange cones out, and this road work is blocking the right lane of travel approaching and passing 9th South. Get tickets for Sharing Aloha the movie. See the trailer. Enter to win a Hawaiian getaway from Hawaiian Air and Marriott Courtyard, Oahu. 45 plus entries per person possible. SharingAlohaTheMovie.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Not much change in the temperature department. I've got 88, very similar to what we saw yesterday. Partly cloudy skies and breezy out of the south. Overnight, we'll drop off into the upper 60s. 87 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, going windy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, partly cloudy skies and 82 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this hour. The canine officer wounded in a deadly attack on police in Tremont is being reunited with the team that saved her life. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
3-year-old Azula suffered multiple gunshot wounds that night, but officials say she was quickly airlifted by Intermountain's Health Flight and Ambulance team. That team is part of a program specifically designed to transport and care for injured public safety animals.
Every helicopter we have is equipped with canine equipment, and we have trained providers on those aircraft 24/7.
Operational Canine Lead Darby Earle says they are happy to have had a role in caring for Azula and getting her back to work. Deputy Mike Allred, who was shot and injured that night, says he's grateful for the team, and Azula is recovering extremely well.
I think 2 days after, she was ready to work again and was driving me completely up the wall.
Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A woman who pleaded guilty to luring her estranged husband to her mom's home in Utah County so he could be murdered will serve up to life in prison. Catherine Rastelli pleaded guilty to murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and discharge of a firearm, and got the maximum sentence for those 3 charges today. They will run consecutively. In court, she apologized, but the judge referred to her to testimony from a friend who said hours after the murder, she was getting ready for a date. KSL's top national stories. Israel has taken responsibility for an attack in Doha, the capital of Qatar, today. The Israelis say they have targeted Hamas leaders there. Arab nations have already condemned the attack, as well as the United Nations, and critics believe it derailed any possibility of the end to the war in Gaza. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended the actions of Israeli forces.
At noon today, I convened the heads of Israel's security organizations and authorized a surgical precision strike on the terrorist chiefs of Hamas. These are the same terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th.
Hamas says their top leaders survived, but 5 lower-ranking members were killed in the attack. A ceremony will take place today in Brooklyn to honor members of the New York City Fire Department who died in the past year from illnesses related to the 9/11 terror attack.
24 years later, the September 11th terror attack on the World Trade Center is still killing New York City firefighters. The FDNY is adding the names of 39 members to its World Trade Center memorial wall. Those individuals, firefighters, EMTs, and civilian employees, have died in the past year of illnesses related to their work during the rescue and recovery efforts at what was then known as the Pile. The fire department has lost more than 400 members now to World Trade Center illnesses, surpassing the 343 firefighters killed on September 11th itself. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
A hiker in Kane County only had minor injuries after being swept 300 feet downstream in a flash flood. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
2 hikers were exploring a wash near a hole in the rock road when a thunderstorm hit the area and water started pouring down the canyon. It swept one of them away. The Kane County Sheriff's Office says the man was able to eventually climb a tree to get out of the water. Then a Department of Public Safety helicopter, it hoisted him to safety.
The same storm also trapped 7 vehicles when dirt roads were washed out, and rescue crews had to reconstruct routes to get them all out. Investigators with the Utah Highway Patrol are asking anyone who was in the area of Deer Creek Reservoir yesterday to check their dash cams to see if they can identify where a piece of rebar came from.
Any information that can help us to identify from where this debris came from, that will help us to document that and look into this case more fully to see ultimately what happened.
UHP Lieutenant Cameron Roden says that piece of rebar ended up going through a windshield, impaling an 18-year-old woman and pinning her to the passenger seat of a car. That woman is currently in the hospital in serious condition. We'll have more on this story coming up at 12:45. A 4-year-old boy riding a dirt bike is taken to the hospital after getting into a crash with a Washington County Sheriff's deputy on Sunday. Highway Patrol tells the St. George News the boy did not stop at a stop sign and rode in front of the oncoming deputy. Child's father was riding behind on another dirt bike and witnessed the crash. The boy is said to have moderate injuries. New research finds most accidents across the U.S. happen when people are driving on straight roadways. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
Experts say it's surprising to find most fatalities occur when drivers are in routine situations, like going straight. The research gathered from NHTSA found going around a simple curve has the second highest number of fatalities. The fewest amount of accidents, deadly or not, occurred during more complex maneuvers. The data gathered by the injury law firm James A. Welcome is drawing attention to people using their phones behind the wheel. The analysis came to the conclusion that people relax, feel safer on straight roads, and use that time to glance at or text on their phones, leading to deadly consequences. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. Any problem spots, Ricky?
We do have construction blocking lanes of travel eastbound. This is Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh, trying to get to I-15, so at about 3rd East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive, and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman, and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now, as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Designed for working adults, focused on the future. Classes start September 17th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Hot Tub Factory Outlet is excited to announce the grand opening of our 4th location in Saratoga Springs across from Costco. Massive savings on hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and more. Happening right now at all 4 of our locations in Saratoga Springs, Draper near Cowabunga Bay, Station Park in Farmington, and Backyards of America in Sandy. Come celebrate with us and take advantage of huge manufacturer rebates on top names like Sundance and other brands. Plus, check out the latest swim spas, saunas, cold plunges, and hot tubs, all designed to bring luxury and wellness home to you. And it's not just Saratoga Springs. These savings are happening at all of our locations. Backyards of America in Sandy, Hot Tub Factory Outlet in Draper, Station Park in Farmington, and now our newest location, Saratoga Springs, across from Costco. Don't miss the grand opening celebration and the best pricing of the year. Visit the Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America today. Your backyard paradise starts here.
KSL News Time, 12:38. Recapping our top story this hour, one who pleaded guilty to luring her estranged husband to his death in Utah County has been sentenced to up to life in prison. There are fewer homes for sale, which means less options for those looking to flip or rent a property. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports on why that's happening.
It boils down to affordability, according to Stephen Bond, president of the Utah Association of Realtors. Prices are going higher and higher, and the interest rates are not coming down, making it more expensive to flip a home.
Yeah, I think people are waiting for something to give. You have high price of materials. So it's expensive to renovate right now.
The number of investment properties sold is literally half this year compared to the same time last year. But Bond says real estate is still a good investment because economists predict median home prices to soar to $1 million by 2030. Right now, those prices are around $500,000. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
An historic school in Weber School District may be closing because of safety concerns and financial pressures on the district. Closure study has been authorized for Lowman View Elementary. The school was built in 1959, and there are several updates and improvements needed, including some safety concerns with the building that could cost up to $3 million.
It's a very sensitive issue. There's a lot of school loyalty, a lot of people that are very fond of Lowman View that their parents went there and they went there and their children have gone there. And so, like I said, it's not an easy decision.
District spokesperson Lane Findley says they will have public meetings through October and a final vote will happen likely December 3rd. If a closure happens, the 2025-2026 school year would be its last. People who ordered new specialty license plates to support the Great Salt Lake are now finally getting them after 2 years of waiting. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
The original bill to create these plates was passed by the legislature 2 years ago, but their rollout just kept getting delayed for various reasons. But now the 500-plus people who ordered them are finally receiving theirs. Right now, the plate only has a small design on the left side, but one of the sponsors tells me they're hoping to have a full end-to-end design at some point. The $25 fee everyone's paying to get these plates will go towards protecting the lake and its ecosystem.
Great Salt Lake is currently sitting at its lowest level since it hit an all-time high record low nearly 3 years ago. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. What's happening, Ricky?
We do have a nice and quiet drive on the Valley freeways. If you're out to grab a bite to eat in the downtown area, the city streets are also seeing a nice noontime drive. We do want to give you a heads up. Construction is going to close westbound to I-80 tonight at I-215 at the exit beginning at about 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to stay closed until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, so you do want to watch for the detours in place if you happen to be traveling there, or just avoid it and use an alternate route. The music of Phil Collins and Genesis comes to life like never before. From the pulse of In the Air Tonight to the power of Take Me Home. Tickets at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, dealing with a little bit of wind the next couple of days. Partly cloudy this afternoon, 88 the high, but it'll be breezy out of the south, especially in Salt Lake County. Windy tomorrow, 87, partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy on Thursday, but a 20% chance for a shower, 81. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's mostly cloudy and 82 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And still to come on Midday, authorities are trying to figure out how a piece of metal rebar ended up impaling an 18-year-old girl. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
I like that song, Old Town Road. My grandkids say that's so 5 years ago. But then as soon as I figure out who Sabrina Carpenter is, those same grandkids think she's yesterday's news. Music is always changing, but no matter how it changes in 5 years, there's one thing that'll stay the same: the price of your internet. With the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. So if it's 2030 and the spotlight's dimmed on the current pop superstar, when there's a brand new sound that has the kids dancing with their earbuds in, you'll still be paying the exact same price for the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best equipment included. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee: the music changes, the price won't. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA fixed broadband experience report August 2024.
The Social Security Administration just announced they are now projected to run out of money 1 year earlier than expected. Benefits could be cut by as much as 23%, and the average person could lose more than $100,000 in lifetime income. This news could significantly change when you file for Social Security. Discover how you could get every penny out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. This free, customized analysis could help you get every penny out of Social Security. Call 801-896-9622 9622. That number again, 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the K-9 officer shot and injured in Tremonton. The same night, Officer Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen were killed, and Deputy Mike Allred was injured, is being reunited with the medical team that helped save her life. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a hiker in Kane County only had minor injuries after being swept 300 feet downstream in a flash flood over the weekend. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. If you're headed on State Street, you do have a right lane restricted near 9th South. Also on Pioneer Crossing, a little bit of backup due to a left lane restricted eastbound Pioneer Crossing at 3rd East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be dealing with a little bit of wind today, tomorrow, and even Thursday. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Israel's strike in Doha has killed a Qatari internal security officer. That, according to Qatari officials. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel was targeting Hamas leaders based in Doha, saying Hamas leaders organized the October 7th attacks and continue attacks on Israel. The U.S. says it was not involved. At a White House briefing today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. military informed the Trump administration of the strike in Qatar.
President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace.
The UN has condemned the strike. Newly revised government figures showing U.S. employers hired far fewer people last year and up until March of 2025. Those revisions showing 911,000 fewer jobs added. The White House now blaming the Biden administration. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. An 18-year-old woman is in serious condition after she was impaled by a piece of metal that flew through the windshield of her car while she was in the passenger seat. Lieutenant Cameron Roden from the Utah Highway Patrol joined Inside Sources earlier this morning to explain what happened.
Driver is just traveling along on 189, heading northbound, right there by Deer Creek, and we really haven't been able to identify where yet, but a piece of metal looks kind of like rebar or like a concrete stake came over the center median, hit the hood of the car, and then ended up going through the windshield, striking the female passenger. And so she, like you had mentioned, received serious injuries. And so they ended up calling a medical helicopter to respond to the scene, but eventually ended up transporting her by ground from the scene. So 189 was closed for the helicopter to respond. From our last update, it sounds like she's still in serious condition, but we're hoping that things improve and that she can be stabilized.
Roden says they're now asking for the public's help as they try to figure out where that rebar came from.
And that's what we're attempting to do now through our crash investigation, is identify the origins of this metal bar that came through the windshield. Did it fall off a vehicle? Was it already on the roadway and another vehicle kicked it up and sent it over the center divider? Or so if we are actually asking for the public's assistance. If anyone was traveling through that area and may have seen something or may have some dash cam and they don't really know it, please look at that and call our dispatch center in Summit County and have that passed on to investigators so they can look at it more fully.
Roden says there wouldn't have been time for the driver to respond quickly enough to avoid that flying debris. That's why he says they are once again reminding everyone to secure their loads when they drive.
It's something that we deal with regularly. Far too often do we have troopers going out there to either handle a crash that was caused by debris or trying to go out in the middle of the highway and remove debris that puts them at risk, So that's, it causes delays out there in traffic because they have to do slowdowns in order to remove it. So debris is a big problem, and it's something that we have to handle daily on daily occurrences, hundreds of times. So it's something that, it's all of our responsibilities as people out there using the highway to secure any load, even if we think it's funny, people think that mattress is going to stay on top of the car, but it's not. If you don't secure it properly, it's going to come off onto the highway and cause some potential hazards to others. So it's something everybody has to take seriously.
Roden says you can be cited for not securing your load, and if your load leads to debris that causes an accident, you could be liable. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
For those traveling I-15, 215, I-80, and the 201, you are good to go. Watch for construction zones causing just a little bit of reduced speeds in areas like eastbound Pioneer Crossing, trying to get to I-15, and northbound on State Street near 9th South. If you are going to be traveling southbound Highway 89 in Weber County, we have had at times spots of slowing around those intersections going from the Walmart down to the I-84 junction in the Uinta South Weber area. Fall in Alta is here, and so is your exclusive locals offer. Snow Pine Lodge is giving Utah residents 20% off lodging. Get away from the daily hustle and enjoy mountain mornings and golden colors. Visit snowpine.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts warm, ends cool. How about 88 today? Partly cloudy skies and a little bit breezy. Winds kick up even more, gusting to 35 at times. For tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy 87. 81 on Thursday, partly cloudy, 20% chance for a shower, a little bit breezy. 76, slight chance for showers and storms on Friday. And then we drop it off to 75 on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. We'll go low 80s Sunday and Monday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 84 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets at this hour. The Dow, the big winner, up by 234 points. Complete update of your money news is next.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son, and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12th, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official, he'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
KSL News Time, 12:54. Downtown Minneapolis was buzzing today after workers from a popular retailer had to head back to work in person. ABC's Sherry Preston has more.
Tuesday was the first day back for thousands of Target employees, downtown Minneapolis' second largest employer. The company told workers that fully remote work would no longer be allowed. This week marks the start of at least 3 days per week back in the office. Restaurant owners and city leaders celebrating, saying it had been too long since Minneapolis' central business district was crowded with that many people. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, unemployment among Black Americans is climbing, and it could be a sign of a slump in the economy. Unemployment rate reached 7.5% last month, the highest level since October of 2021. CNN reports the most vulnerable population gets laid off first, and that can cause a ripple in all communities. Ticket reseller StubHub is hoping to raise $851 million in its initial public offering. CNBC reports that it has a valuation of up to $9.2 billion. It reportedly plans to sell more than 34 million shares, costing up to $25 each. SpaceX is looking into buying wireless spectrum licenses from EchoStar in a $17 billion deal. CNBC reports it could be a big part of expanding Starlink's 5G connectivity business. It will reportedly expand the network's capacity more than 100 times. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 218 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 45,733. S&P is up by 14 and the NASDAQ up by 48. Cracker Barrel completed a full about-face from proposed changes.
Cracker Barrel says it hopes the announcement that it's suspending plans to remodel its stores reinforces that we hear you. The restaurant chain says it's halting the planned remodel that drew criticism from longtime customers and somehow turned into a political issue. Cracker Barrel's already announced it would return to the familiar logo of a man sitting next to a barrel that had been dropped. The company says it will continue to invest in its restaurants to make sure they're in good shape. Brian Clark, ABC News.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow Stolen Voices of Dole Valley now, so you don't miss an episode.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. What's the latest, Ricky?
We're still looking at a quiet drive on the Valley freeways and main secondaries. Again, we want to give drivers a heads up. Westbound I-80 closing tonight for road work at I-215 beginning at 9 o'clock until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. There will be detours in place. Again, it's a spot you may just want to avoid and take an alternate route. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, a high today of 88, 87 tomorrow, then the temperature dropping down into the mid 70s by the weekend. We do have about a 40% chance of showers on Friday. Looks like the rest of the week we could see a 10 to 20% chance of rain. Right now it's mostly cloudy, 84 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Looking at other parts of the state, 84 in Provo, Logan at 82, Park City, the cool spot at 68, and Moab 87 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Immigration inspections at Utah businesses on the rise. One lawyer warning that this could affect small businesses the most and even those who are doing legal activities.
They're our neighbors. They're building our communities. They need to know that these things are happening.
The time is 1 o'clock on Tuesday, September 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera will join us for a live breakdown on the issues that businesses are seeing as ICE ramps up their employee inspections. Also this hour,
we did a good training yesterday, and she was able to knock it out of the park.
The K-9 officer injured in a shooting in Tremont and reunited today with the team who saved her life. We'll get an update on Azula in just a few minutes. But first, our top stories. Breaking news, the state health department says several people were exposed to and infected with measles at Soldier Hollow last month. About 2,000 people were in attendance at a Utah High School Cycling League event, potentially exposed. State health officials say they're working now to contact families to let them know what to watch out for. Now, the event was August 16th, and symptoms usually take a couple of weeks to show up. Our top national stories this hour from ABC News. 5 people are facing criminal charges and more than 50 others are facing deportation after a raid on a New York company.
ICE agents arrested 57 people at a workplace in central New York. The acting U.S. Attorney John Sarcone was asked if these are the worst of the worst, as President Trump promised to pursue. Sarcone said he has a job to do.
We're obviously going after anybody who has committed crimes in this country.
Governor Kathy Hochul said she was outraged and that children were not aware their parents would be taken into custody. Sarcone said all children were appropriately cared for. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Federal government is now allowed to keep many undocumented immigrants in ICE custody without giving them the option to post bond. This means they will be forced to stay in ICE custody for months or voluntarily leave the country without getting to speak to their families or get their affairs in order. Immigration attorney Adam Craig says he believes this new rule deals a major blow to due process.
You're essentially civilly detaining somebody. And let's not make mince words. Civil detention for immigrants is the same as being incarcerated as a criminal or worse. But you're now not letting them represent themselves to try and get out.
Craig says he expects this ruling to be appealed in court, but it could take months or even years to play out. We've reached out to ICE for comment, but have not heard back. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 208 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 45,723. The S&P is up by 13 points, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 45 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account, and here's Ricky Meese.
Freeway traffic rolling along and looking good. No accidents on any of the Valley freeways. Our main secondary seeing a quiet drive at this time, too. Your fall one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways and highways, live theater, mountain biking, chairlift rides, ATVing, vibrant art, food, and downtown. Visit cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Clouds staying with us for most of the week, and that means just a slight chance of showers, 10% chance today with a high of 88, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
There's a photo my wife took of me.
sitting crisscross on the floor playing Legos with my boys. Might not sound like much, but back in 2020, I couldn't get down there without pain, let alone enjoy it. After 16 weeks on soda and 82 pounds gone, that picture means everything. It's proof that I'm not just present in my kid's life, but I'm active, engaged, and I'm healthy. Soda didn't just give me a plan. It gave me a partner, a personal nutritionist who helped me every step. Through grocery store trips, family vacations, late night cravings, you name it. If you're a parent who wants to be there, not just someday, but right now, go to sodaweightloss.com. Click the Request a Nutritionist callback. That's sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99. And we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale. Now at AutoZone until September 22nd. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. When you think of ICE, you probably picture gritty raids or big criminal roundups. But there's another kind of enforcement happening right here in Utah that's a lot quieter and some say just as disruptive for local businesses. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has been looking into this. And Eric, it sounds a lot different than the images of people that we usually have in mind.
It's true, Maria. This isn't about dramatic arrests or immigration raids. It's about ICE inspections, surprise visits to Utah businesses, especially in industries like construction and hospitality. These inspections are becoming more common, and for a lot of business owners, they become completely out of the blue. Joshua Irvine, an immigration attorney who works with companies here in Utah and some actually across the country, he told me, says these visits often start with a very tense moment.
The typical way that it happens is there's usually a 72-hour site inspection notice that is usually hand-delivered by an armed officer from DHS or from ICE. And they say, hey, we're going to be on site to pick up documents in 3 days. And here's the list of documents we need.
So ICE basically tells these companies, get ready, we'll be back. I mean, that's pretty intimidating for a small business.
Exactly. Imagine being a business owner and having just 3 days to pull together every I-9 form and employee record you have, even if everyone on your payroll is legally authorized to work. If there's a missing signature or a small clerical mistake, that can lead to huge fines.
And that's not necessarily intentional stuff either.
No, often they're just paperwork errors. But the consequences can be severe. Irvine says he's seen penalties reach into the six figures. And what's especially concerning is that it doesn't just hurt business owners. The ripple effects actually hit employees and their families too. Some workers panic and stop showing up, worried about what the inspection might mean. That only adds to the strain on these companies.
So what kind of impact are we actually looking at here financially?
So Joshua says it can be devastating. Irvine shared this example of what a surprise fine can do to a local company.
When a company that's a small to mid-sized company gets all of a sudden a $100,000 bill, that literally requires them to either lay people off or some of them have had to close the door. And even if financially they can afford it, there is a scary reality when ICE shows up with inspections and requesting records. A lot of employers have told me that they have a number of employees that just don't show up to work anymore. Now, maybe it's because they're illegal, and maybe it's just because they're scared that this company somehow is under investigation and they don't want to be associated.
So what types of businesses is he seeing that are being affected by this?
So these are like local builders, restaurant owners, hotel managers, our neighbors. When one of these businesses shut down, it doesn't just hurt the owners, it impacts everyone they employ and the services they provide.
So has ICE given any explanation for why these inspections are ramping up?
So ICE has declined to comment. We did reach out. Irvine believes certain industries are being targeted more heavily than others, like construction and hospitality, but says this type of enforcement has been building steadily for years under multiple administrations.
So what can business owners do to protect themselves?
So Irvine's advice is simple. Just don't wait until ICE shows up. Business owners should make sure their employee records are accurate and up to date right now. He says it's not a matter of if ICE comes knocking, it's when.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Important information and their workers. Stay with us. We'll be back with more on Midday in just 60 seconds.
Back to school shopping. It's basically like a sport. The kids want new shoes, new jeans, new colors, new everything. And honestly, they're not wrong. They've grown. Their style has changed. And apparently, last year's hoodie is embarrassing. So we make a quick trip to the mountains. Junction Commons Park City has cooler temps, fresh air, and way better deals. Sneakers? We hit Nike Factory, Adidas, and Vans Outlet. Clothes? Abercrombie & Fitch, American Eagle, Gap Factory, J. Crew Factory, Buckle, all the brands they want without draining my wallet. And while they're shopping, I get a little mountain escape, a latte in hand, cool breeze, and a few peaceful moments to myself. Honestly, it's the kind of back-to-school tradition I can get behind.
Junction Commons Park City. Cooler temps, hotter deals, and one very relieved parent.
A K-9 officer who was wounded in the line of duty was reunited today with the team that saved her life. Azula and her handler, Box Elder County Sheriff's Deputy Mike Allred, were both wounded the same night. 2 Tremonton officers were shot and killed while responding to a domestic call. Today, Allred says he's extremely grateful to the team who made sure that Azula can continue to be the best girl.
I want to thank everybody for the care that they've given Azula and the teams and the efforts and the trainings and everything that go into this. Excellent job. My hat is off to you guys. I appreciate it. As far as Azula's recovery, I think 2 days after she was ready to work again and was driving me completely up the wall. We have since we did a good training yesterday, and she was able to knock it out of the park. Like, it was nothing to her, and I'm sure she thinks nothing ever happened, but yeah, she did great in her detection work and tracking. And I need to thank Deputy Kennedy also. Yeah, come up here. He makes me uncomfortable all the time, so it's his fault. So, Deputy Kennedy, when he got to the scene, was instrumental, along with other canine handlers in the county, with Brigham City, Tremonton. He made the call to dispatch to get the bird in the air for Azula. And I'm very grateful for him for doing that. I appreciate that. And since this has happened, a bond is created with these two, which wasn't there before. Every once a month, he might get a little nudge, but that was about it. And she has turned into a, what'd you call it? An emotional, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, this is new and this is good.
Now, he was asked what the quick work of the team and the life-saving care meant to him.
It means the world to me. I didn't know that she was injured until after I'd been at the hospital for a little bit, and they let me know. And I'm glad that she was able to get the help that she needed. and the response was quick. And you know, out there, it's a rural area. It's a distance, and for the amount of time that it took them to get from the scene to here, that's the first time I had heard the time frame, and that's pretty dang quick.
Azula appeared happy and energetic alongside her care team today. You could see 3 places where they shaved her fur to remove bullets. Allred says she's already doing better enough to drive him crazy. Controversy growing today over a letter in Epstein's so-called birthday book allegedly signed by the president. We'll get more details in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
We had some debris in the road southbound I-15 in South Salt Lake, very near the 3300 South off-ramp, but it was in a second from the right lane of travel. It looked like tire debris. It looks like maybe UHP has either finally been able to get to it, and they would need to do a slowdown. So if you see delays in the area on southbound I-15, or it's been kicked and moved a little bit further, I think I'm still seeing it there. Just use caution if you're going through the area. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
University of Maryland Global Campus offers more than 55 flexible online certificates that provide short-term credentials and real-world skills you can use immediately. With a range of affordable undergraduate and graduate certificates in high-demand fields like business, AI, cybersecurity, data analytics, and healthcare, you can earn credentials quickly to help advance your career. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. A backlog of nominees from President Trump now prompting Senate Republicans to potentially use the nuclear option. Senate Majority Leader John Thune announced yesterday that he would kickstart the procedural steps needed to change how judicial nominations are handled in the Senate. Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo explained the nuclear option to inside sources this morning.
So it's a very rarely used procedure, but basically, as you were saying, it kind of lowers the threshold for something to be passed. Normally, in the Senate, you have to reach that 60-vote threshold to end a filibuster. But with this, basically, what Senate Majority Leader John Thune is going to try to do is put up this resolution that would confirm about 40 or 60 of these nominations at once. That obviously is not going to get the 60 votes needed. And so what Thune is going to do is kind of raise a point of order to object the 60-vote procedure. That's also going to be rejected, but then he's going to have to appeal that. And so with appealing that kind of sets up this whole procedure for changing Senate rules, and that only requires a simple majority.
Why is it called the nuclear option, and why isn't it used more often?
So it is something that is rarely used. It has been used before. The last time it was used in 2019 by then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to kind of reduce the required time for debate on some nominees. But the reason that this is not used very often, so it's called the nuclear option because they kind of compare it to like nuclear warfare, this being the last option you should ever try to take in the Senate. The Senate really prides itself on being what they call the deliberative body. Almost everything that you do in the Senate has to be bipartisan, so they really pride themselves on it. But by using this nuclear option, you're basically taking that bipartisan veil away, and this is completely putting in a partisan process. So that's why it's kind of a last-minute option. It's something that's not used very often, especially for those more traditional senators. And that's why you're seeing a lot of Democrats are a little bit upset about it. Some Democrats are not as upset because they've kind of proposed this before in the past. But you're kind of seeing this very rarely used, and that's why not many people know how it works.
With more than 100 nominees waiting for confirmation, will this rule allow the Senate to approve or deny them all at once? Not necessarily.
So they're not going to do all 130 at once. And this latest one, it only had a couple dozen in there at first, and it kind of had some of the easier nominees to pass. But that is kind of the idea that they would package, like 30 to 40 to 50 different nominees in one package so that it kind of quickens the process. Because, Jim was mentioning earlier this week that if they were going to go one by one on all of the judges they have in the queue right now, it would take them until, maybe even the end of the year, if not longer. It would take up to maybe 600 votes, he said. And he kind of compared that to be like all of the votes we've taken so far this year has not even been 600 votes. And so they're really just trying to quicken this process to put Trump's nominees in place.
With Thune's announcement, it tees up a final vote in the Senate as early as next week. Senate Democrats have decried the move, saying that there had been good bipartisan negotiations before this decision, as they have tried to find a path forward on judicial nominations. A new wrinkle in the Jeffrey Epstein case today. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee now say they have the so-called birthday book in their hands, a collection of notes sent to Epstein when he turned 50. That book allegedly includes a crude note from President Trump, though that claim is being disputed. ABC's Catherine Falders has the latest with the Start Here podcast host Brad Milkey.
The reason why lawmakers have these documents in the first place is because the Republican-led House Oversight Committee subpoenaed them.
I think at the end of the day, every document that we get will be public, and I fully expect to get all the documents.
So then Democrats on the committee posted this letter online, and here's what it is, at least in the description. It's a crudely drawn outline of a woman's body around different lines written in the third person of a dialogue, if you will, going back and forth between Trump and Epstein. That's typed out on a page. And then Trump's signature is at the very end, scribbled out, handwritten in thick marker. Now, remember, this was the letter we've been talking about for quite some time that the Journal reported 2 months ago, back in July, I believe. They didn't post the letter at the time. And then remember, Trump at the time said he didn't know what they're talking about. Somebody could have written a letter and used his name.
I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women, that I can tell you.
And then he went on to sue the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch, which is still in federal court down in Florida. That litigation is still playing out. So what we're seeing now is the first time that this letter has been made public, allegedly with his signature on it. Now, while it was released by the Democrats, these documents were handed over because Republicans asked for them.
Here's what Trump administration officials have been saying.
They're saying, well, that's not his signature, and posting images of other signatures that they claim appear to be different than this signature. Then the White House press secretary yesterday posted and said, this proves that the Wall Street Journal was fake, that the story about this birthday book really isn't true and doesn't exist. But that's really all they can come up with so far. Now, the press secretary didn't say why she believed it was fake. Another White House official posted and said, oh, that's clearly not his signature. But I'm not a handwriting expert, and I don't intend to be one, and I'm not going to analyze any of this. But I will be interested to see, Brad, how that defense holds up in court, given there's litigation on this, that Trump in his personal capacity is going to have to at some point represent to a court and before a judge, at least his lawyers will, a defense of this. And keep in mind, we still haven't heard from President Trump himself yet.
The letter itself is at least 20 years old if it's proven authentic, which does fit the timeline of when the president had said he knew Epstein. Brad asked Catherine why Democrats are so interested in this particular letter.
I think there's a number of reasons. I think some Democrats would say, you know, it shows more of a window into Trump's alleged relationship with women. I think they would also say that Trump had previously denied this when the Wall Street Journal reported it. Well, look, here it is. See it for yourself. I also think that separate and apart from the politics of this, what will be fascinating to see how this plays out is really through the perspective of the victims. You saw the victims, Epstein victims, come to Capitol Hill last week. They called for DOJ to release more documents.
Release the files. All of the files.
Now, keep in mind, these documents that were released yesterday were not and are not, at least in the possession of the Department of Justice, right? It wasn't like the government was withholding this letter. Of course, the government has seen the letter now.
Right. These came straight from the Epstein estate, right?
Exactly. But does this now being publicly out there heighten those calls from victims and put pressure on the administration to release all those documents that it has in its possession? They still are withholding a lot of documents. And remember, the House Oversight Committee also subpoenaed DOJ for those documents. They've complied, kind of. They've only turned over a fraction of those documents, and they still have many more. So does this being revealed yesterday now put more pressure on the government to not withhold the additional documents they have?
That is ABC's Catherine Falders on the Start Here podcast. In local news, a KSL construction alert that could affect your commute over the next week or so. If you're used to taking the Trax Blue Line, you'll want to hear about this. Beginning tomorrow, there will be closures on the line as UTA works to replace the rails and improve rail crossings. A bus bridge will be in place, but it could result in delays of up to 30 minutes. UTA's Gavin Gustafson tells KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson that this construction is desperately needed.
This is part of the original Blue Line. We've done some work here and there on it, but, like all things over, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, or in this case, around 20 or so years, things are going to, they get affected by wind, by weather and rain and snow. and freezing and thawing. So it is time to do a replacement of this section here. And look, I live in Sandy. I go down 90th all the time. I can vouch for the fact that it has got a little rough over the past few years. Driving across that, it's pretty bumpy and rough. So this will smooth out that rail-to-road interface quite a bit.
And even if you don't take tracks, if you drive in the area of 90th South in Sandy, you will face some road closures as well.
Yeah, that section of 90th South will be closed at approximately 2nd East. There's not an actual road there, but that's approximately where it is. So we're going to have detours that will send drivers either to 94th South or 86th South, depending on the situation. There will be times where it may open here and there. On the 13th, to be exact, we are going to open portions going east and west to accommodate traffic for a soccer game at America First Field. But for the most part, that bit is going to be closed. That said, there will be some local traffic that will be allowed through. You'll be able to get to 3rd East, for example, if you're going north and south. But, for the most part, yeah, that section is going to be closed.
Gustafson says regular track service will resume on Thursday, September 18th. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A healthy mind leads to a healthy life. We have more special coverage of how you can help preventing the growing trend of suicides in our community. Whether you're looking to buy your own home or a new house to flip, the market is tough. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A new crash reported in Draper, southbound I-15 near Bangerter Highway. Out of traffic on the right shoulder and no delay. Maria?
Clouds staying with us. There was a slight chance of showers throughout the week. KSL's top local stories coming up in 1 minute. But first, let's get the very latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Federal prosecutors announced they're pursuing charges against a man who allegedly killed a woman on a commuter train in North Carolina last month.
The federal charge allows the Justice Department to pursue the death penalty against Carlos Brown, the man accused of stabbing a Ukrainian refugee on a light rail train in Charlotte last month. Irina Zarutska died in the attack. The White House says as a repeat offender, the suspect serves as an emblem of a liberal approach to criminal justice. DeCarlos Brown had been arrested at least 14 times before and reportedly had a documented history of schizophrenia.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Israel carried out a strike in Doha, Qatar today, targeting Hamas leadership. The White House says the U.S. military informed the Trump administration about that strike. The move further hinders Gaza ceasefire talks. Apple has rolled out its latest updates on its popular products, including the iPhone 17, updated AirPods, and the iPhone Air. The company calls it the thinnest iPhone to date. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A hiker in Kane County survived a frightening ordeal after being swept up and carried downstream in a flash flood.
2 hikers were in a wash near Hole in the Rock Road when a thunderstorm hit the area and water came pouring down the canyon. It swept one of the hikers away and it carried him 300 feet downstream. The Kane County Search and Rescue Team says he finally got out of the water by climbing a tree. A Department of Public Safety helicopter then hoisted him out of the canyon. They say he did have some minor injuries, but he will be all right. Now, that same storm had also trapped 7 other vehicles. When roads were washed out, crews had to go in and reconstruct routes to get them all out safely. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
The K-9 officer injured in a deadly police shooting in Tremont last month is recovering well. She's being reunited with the care team that saved her life. Azula was actually airlifted by Intermountain's Health Flight and Ambulance Team, which specializes in transporting injured public safety animals. Deputy Mike Allred, the officer that was shot and survived that night, says he's grateful for the team that saved her life.
Riding around with a K-9 in your vehicle is something that not everybody gets to experience. We have a lot of conversations. They're all one-sided. But she is a good listener.
Allred also says Azula is back to driving him crazy. Utah health officials are working to notify the families of some 2,000 people at a Soldier Hollow event last month that they may have been exposed to measles. The state epidemiologist says several people were confirmed exposed and infected at a Utah High School Cycling League event. It took place on August 16th. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 180 points, losing a little bit of ground in the last half hour, sits at 45,695. S&P up by 15 and the NASDAQ up by 64 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
We have a small accident in Summit County. This is going to be on SR 224 Olympic Parkway in the Kimball Junction area prior to the I-80 junction. If you are traveling southbound I-15, UHP did come through, do a slowdown. We're still seeing a little bit of backup between the I-80 201 junction and 33rd South, where they cleared debris from the road. See your favorite characters in the spooktacular smash hit Halloween performance this fall, Thriller. Experience the fall tradition everyone is talking about. Tickets to Thriller on sale now at odysseydance.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 88 degrees, 87 tomorrow before dropping down into the 70s for the rest of the week. A 10% chance of showers today, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A healthy mind matters. We have continued special coverage this week of mental health, all in honor of National Suicide Prevention Week. The 3-digit suicide helpline 988 is celebrating its third year of helping Americans who are in mental health crisis. State Representative Steve Ellison helped with this push, starting on a state level and moving to the national level.
We tried for several years to get our own 3-digit number in Utah, and we failed. So we decided to go to the national level, and in 2017, I sponsored a resolution in the Utah legislature calling on Congress to create this number, and Senator Hatch and Congressman Chris Stewart took that call up and sponsored the legislation that has now given us 988 nationwide.
He spoke to KSL 5 TV's Emma Benson about the success of the number so far and how it's helped thousands of Utahns.
We have seen a huge increase in the number of people reaching out for help. A lot of it's the awareness. Everybody can remember 988, 911 for physical health, 988 for mental health. And the crisis is self-defined. So there's no cost, it's confidential, and as that awareness has grown, we've seen huge increased utilization.
And what's so significant is that people are actually able to talk to another human being on the other end of the line. It's not a chat bot or anything like that. It's a real person.
It's always a live, trained person, and there's no AI involved here, and it's 24/7, 365, and the calls are answered locally at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute at the University of Utah.
911 for physical health, 988 for mental health. What a great way to remember that. Representative Ellison says we have a lot of challenges with mental health, not only in Utah, but around the entire Intermountain West. But he says we are seeing improvements all the time.
We have lots of challenges. The whole Intermountain West actually has challenges greater than the rest of the nation, some reasons behind that. But we're making a lot of progress in terms of awareness, including with 988, Safe UT for our students and our healthcare workers, law enforcement, military. We have so many resources out there. We now have mobile crisis outreach teams that are kind of like mental health ambulances that are dispatched through 988. And from the top of the state to the bottom of the state, we now have crisis receiving centers open 24/7 that people can go to, like a psychiatric emergency room. So instead of going to the emergency room, they can go to a specialty facility if they're in need of that level of care.
Representative Ellison says this issue is a personal one for him and one that he's been proud to be part of.
So when I first ran for the legislature, mental health wasn't one of the reasons I did that. But after some children died in my son's middle school and family members having their own challenges, I realized what a pervasive issue it was and really got involved in it. And it's been a huge bipartisan, almost all these bills that we've run have been unanimous. And the state has probably passed more bills and put more money towards this issue relative to our size than probably any other state in the nation. So there's strong support for getting people those resources, making them aware of them through things like the Live On campaign, and making sure that those resources are there and ready for people when they need them.
He says, in the end, if you're ever having doubts about your life, remember this simple message: there is hope.
There is hope. There's fabulous treatments that work. And the most difficult part, though, is taking that first step to reach out. So encouraging people to become aware of those resources and then access them when they need them, or help a friend access those, is absolutely critical.
Now, if you don't feel like actually talking to someone when you're in crisis, that happens too, you know. You can also text the 988 hotline. It's completely confidential and free, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. As we continue our special coverage this week, we're talking about all sorts of people who experience mental health challenges. Yesterday, we spoke about youth, children, and teens who need help. Today, let's talk about men. National data shows that men make up 50% of the population, yet they account for nearly 80% of suicides across the country. And in particular, young men in Utah are struggling. Studies suggest many of them are struggling to complete schoolwork, apply for college, or find a vocation. But a new task force aims to help them get back on track. Nick Dunn is the Vice President of Strategy and a Senior Fellow at the Sutherland Institute, and he spoke to Inside Sources today about the struggles men face.
There is an increasing recognition of some concerning data trends showing that a significant number of men seem to be maybe kind of drifting from those life anchors. And so that's what we really want to be diving into through the work of this task force and the work that Sutherland Institute is doing. And we've been collecting information and data and having conversations about this. And we're in the process now of starting to share some of that with more to come in the future. So it's really just this recognition of, are men in Utah and across the nation for that matter thriving? For those who are not, for those who are struggling, what are they experiencing and what might we be able to do to help?
Dunn tells Holly Richardson and Greg Skordas that more than a third of young men aren't sure where they fit in society, and that can lead to poorer mental health.
Yeah, that was the most striking finding to me as well, that over a third, the way I would describe it simply, are struggling to understand their purpose in life. And we look at that in context of other findings in the survey data showing that anywhere from 1 in 5 to 1 in 3, depending on the issue, of American men report struggling across various domains. And another example of that is about a third or so say that they don't really have anyone close to them that they can talk to if they're dealing with something difficult. And so I think what we need to take away from this is that, number one, overall, the data shows that most men are doing okay. Report good mental and physical health, report engagement with work and family and faith communities. But there is a silent, struggling subset that is significant enough that we really need to pay attention to it. And that's why at the task force, we've sort of identified 3 key buckets of areas that we want to focus on, which are health, vocation, and purpose. So mental and physical health, and then vocation, which would be educational attainment and work opportunities, and purpose, which in some ways is the most nebulous, but also I think the most important, because so many of these conversations we're having come back to there is a significant number of men that are essentially saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, what is my role in society? And that's something that it's going to take a lot of work to figure out.
Nick Dunn is the Vice President of Strategy at the Sutherland Institute, talking about the challenges that young men tend to have when it comes to their mental health. Another reminder as we finish up the discussion today that there is hope and help available. The 988 hotline is free and confidential and available 24/7, 365 days a year. Here in Utah, calls and texts are answered locally by mental health professionals at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute at the University of Utah. You can also find additional resources and support on our website, kslnewsradio.com. More on Midday in just 60 seconds.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Utah's housing shortage. We have special coverage today on today's Midday. Fewer homes are for sale right now in Utah, and that's leading to fewer options for people looking to flip or rent a property. These investment properties have risen in popularity since the Great Recession, often pricing first-time home buyers out of the market. For all properties, though, prices are way, way up.
Yeah, what we are seeing is that overall there's market sensitivity as to affordability. And so the area median income is roughly 1/6 of the area median price for most of our counties throughout Utah. So affordability is really a challenge. And the question is, how long can prices continue to go up, especially in an environment where the interest rates have gone up over 200% from their lowest point during COVID.
Stephen Bond, president of the Utah Association of Realtors, tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi affordability is becoming a problem, not just when buying a home, but also when trying to renovate a home.
I think that people are waiting for something to give. You have high price of materials, so it's expensive to renovate right now. The interest rates are a little higher. So for investors looking to buy, to simply own and rent out properties, the cost of renting is substantially less than owning for the short time period. And so the rent prices have stayed pretty stable and aren't increasing as much as the sales prices have. And so especially in the multifamily space, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, small apartment projects on the MLS, since 2021, in year-to-date in 2025, we're about 50% of the sales volume of what happened in 2021, where there were 654 sales then. Year-to-date 2025, there's 327 sales. And so investors are just simply not buying as much, and there's less inventory available to them compared to back during that time.
Bond says it really all boils down to affordability. Prices are going higher and higher, and the interest rates are not coming down, making it more expensive to flip a home. While prices may come down elsewhere around the country, Bond says that in Utah, prices are expected to continue to rise. So he says it's more important to look at real estate decisions on a long-term scale.
It's a big asset to own, and the transaction costs are, it does cost money to buy or sell real estate. And so making real estate decisions based on really short time horizons is really risky. However, Utah is a state in which we do expect prices to continue to go up because of supply and demand. And so we still expect the median price, according to all the economists that go around on these speaking circuits throughout Utah, they expect the median price to be close to seven figures or $1 million by 2030. And so right now we're sitting at 500 to 600, depending on the county you're in, along the Wasatch Front especially. But they expect that to double once again by 2030. So prices will go up. Owning real estate is still a very valuable asset class to own. But as an investor, owning real estate, looking for cash flow, that's getting constrained and really, really tight in this environment.
Bond says the biggest thing that will help solve housing affordability is supply, plain and simple.
To fix the demand issue, you have to create more housing, and not just big houses with large yards, but more affordable homes, condos, townhomes, small single-family homes. And they're working really hard legislatively to create this pathway. I know cities are very focused on it, but we need to see more product come out to create availability for people looking to buy homes. And as far as real estate ownership, it's still a great way to build wealth over long periods of time. And it is a difference maker for people who are able to own real estate.
Stephen Bond is the president of the Utah Association of Realtors. Some scheduling changes coming to our partners at KSL TV. We'll get a preview of the all-new noon show coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
A few new problems, and they are causing issues for drivers. One is in Utah County. We actually have a crash involving multiple vehicles, and even though tow trucks are on the scene, officers have shut down the road eastbound University Parkway. It's closed at Sand Hill Road. The other side is getting through just fine, but just be aware, you will need to find an alternate route. Nobody getting through that one. And then in Salt Lake County, we have a new accident on the eastbound side of I-80 at about 7th East. Even though they've tried to get over to the right shoulder, they are still causing delays back to state. The BYU Department of Dance presents World of Dance, featuring BYU's finest ballroom, contemporary, ballet, Native American, and folk dance ensembles, September 25th through 27th at the Marriott Center. Tickets at byuonstage.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I have to ask, what are you willing to settle for? Are you settling to be overweight because it's been so hard for you to take off those extra pounds? I mean, that was me. That was me before I started with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I have lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. You know, I just was so frustrated with the inability to lose weight. And this program just uses a simple combination of foods to help you burn off that stored belly fat. And the weight comes off very quickly so you don't get frustrated and you're willing to stick with it. It's an all-natural program with no injections, surgeries. It's just a simple combination of foods that burn off that stored fat. Plus, it's easy to follow. They give you great resources to help keep you accountable. I love their app. It gives you a daily inspiration. It's just 1 minute long. They give you great recipes so you don't get bored with that food that you're eating. And if you need help, it's very easy for you to reach out and get that extra help you need. Right now, you can save $200. Find out how at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. Wouldn't it be great to lose up to a pound per day? That's what many of their clients lose. Go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Join KSL at the Utah RV Super Show Thursday, September 11th from 3 to 5 at the Mountain America Expo Center. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
In today's digital world, outdated technology can slow you down. You need a partner who keeps you ahead of the curve. At Les Olson IT, we help your business thrive with top-tier office technology, from copiers and IT hardware to advanced IT services and security solutions. With Les Olson IT, you get more than just products. You get solutions, service, and a team that cares. Les Olson IT, empowering businesses with the tools for success.
Les Olson IT.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. After 19 years, Studio 5 on KSL 5 TV said goodbye. The show wrapped up at the end of August. Now a new show has launched on KSL TV that pulls in elements from Studio 5, lifestyle topics, and mixes them with the important news and weather of the day. The new show launched just yesterday with Tamara Vaifanua, Matt Johnson, and Brooke Walker. And joining me now to talk about this new show is Brooke Walker herself. Brooke, thanks so much for being with me, and congratulations on what an amazing run on Studio 5.
Hi, my friend Maria. Thank you so much. Yeah, 19 years. It was a beautiful chapter. I'm just so grateful for those years, and it was a bittersweet goodbye, but we made a party out of it.
So 19 years, I know this is going to be a tough one, but I'd like you to share at least one of your favorite memories.
Oh, my goodness. That is a hard question. I feel like a lot of times people will ask, and I'm sure you get this as well, what's your favorite interview, right? That goes with the question memories, too. And it's a great question. I just have a terrible answer because what people are looking for are kind of the name drops, right? Like I could tell you I loved interviewing Jimmy Fallon or Rachel Ray or Hoda Kotb or Donald Trump before he was president. And I could play the name drop game. But for me, it's the everyday interviews with just, you could say, regular women and the chance to sit knee to knee, eye to eye, heart to heart with them in that sacred studio space for 19 years as they shared their hardships and their learnings and inspired all of us with their personal stories. Those are my favorite interviews, and ultimately my favorite memories are just those real heart-to-heart conversations.
Well, being a little selfish, I'm going to be glad to have you closer to us in our newsroom here. But
thank you.
Look ahead now. So tell us what you want to bring to this new noon show.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm showing up for, and I hope it relates to what the noon viewers are looking for as well. On the noon show, we're excited to bring the headlines that come home and offer news you need for a life that you love is sort of the tagline. And I find myself thinking, thankfully, most of us will not be in a car accident today. We won't experience a structure fire. We thankfully won't be the victim of an assault or a crime. And not that those situations are insignificant, but when it comes to the headlines that come home, everyone knows and loves someone struggling with cancer, right? So new research and treatment information, that matters. And most parents will have a child who deals with even just everyday anxiety. So those parenting tools, those matter. And I don't care who you are, come 5 o'clock, most people's most pressing headline is actually the question, what's for dinner? So I'm showing up for those kinds of topics and conversations that really matter in people's everyday life.
What do you hope that the viewers take away from this new show?
Oh, I think we're being very, very careful. Producers are trying to be very careful about the topics and the headlines that they do curate. And so I think if we've done our job well, a viewer will walk away saying, not just I heard something interesting, but I learned something that matters. Like I learned something that I could actually tangibly apply to my own life, to my own family, in my own home that would really impact and improve our everyday lives.
Well, I've enjoyed watching on Studio 5, though I have to admit, with my schedule here, the only time I got to watch it was vacation days or when I had some sick days, but it was such a great show, and we're so glad to have you doing this new noon show now.
or when we roped you in, and you were a great guest.
I
So
love being
you
roped in.
You can bring the chatter. I love that about you. And Maria, you've always been a great friend, a support, and a mentor to me. So thank you so much.
I believe the same about you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you, you can catch the noon show on KSL 5 TV Monday through Friday, and of course at noon. The future of Tesla now being updated through its master plan. So what's the company planning to do over the next several years? ABC's Mike Dubusky has more in today's Tech Trends.
Every couple of years, Tesla releases a master plan, a sort of mission statement for the future of the company. And now there's a new one.
Definitely a lot more vague than the master plans that we've seen in the past.
Tim Levin is a senior editor at Inside EVs. He says the latest master plan is less about Tesla's core automotive business and more about its efforts in artificial intelligence and robotics.
It's about human prosperity and how things like AI and the Optimus robot that Tesla's working on and autonomous vehicles are part of bringing about this sustainable abundance for all.
But it comes amid a string of bad headlines for the company,
including Elon Musk's, attachment to the Trump administration that put off a lot of people. They've had falling sales, the Cybertruck that they spent a lot of money and a lot of time developing just hasn't really panned out in terms of sales.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Coming up in the next hour of Midday, e-bike crashes are on the rise around the Wasatch Front, and that has police worried. Man, it's not just those e-bikes. You've seen those e-skateboards and all those things that the kids are riding. We're going to talk about e-bike safety in the next hour of Midday. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The nation's students getting a new report card, and the grade, to say the least, isn't stellar.
In 2024, 78% of high school seniors were not proficient in math, and 65% of them were not proficient in reading. Clearly, success isn't about how much money we spend, but who spends it.
The time is 2 o'clock on Tuesday, September 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we will check in with the State Board of Education to see how students in Utah are doing and where we could make some improvements. Also this hour,
it's because everybody in America has both diabetes or high blood pressure.
More than 100,000 Americans are on transplant lists, and 86% of them need a new kidney. We'll go in depth on how you can help make that list shorter. But first, our top stories. The National Guard has taken an artillery shell found just off I-80 near 7200 West back to Camp Williams to investigate it further. A spokesman for the Utah Air National Guard says someone was excavating when they discovered the shell. It's unclear how old it is or how long it had been at that spot. Guard crews came in, determined it appears to be filled with concrete and will not blow up. Our top national story from ABC News. Israel has taken responsibility for an attack in Qatar's capital today. The Israelis say they have targeted Hamas leaders there, and a member of Qatar's security force was killed. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
The White House issued a strong rebuke of Israel's strike on Hamas leaders in Qatar Tuesday. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt telling reporters,
unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals.
Leavitt said the president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the U.S., and he, quote, feels very badly about the location of Israel's attack. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The White House says the revisions published today on the early jobs picture shows that the data collection at the Labor Department is flawed. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says it's an indication that Congress should confirm the Trump administration's pick to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
We need accurate numbers. We need truthful and honest data, which is why the president took the monumental step to try and appoint and confirm new leadership at the BLS so we can have data that we can actually rely on. And that's what the president is doing, and we hope that his nominee will soon be confirmed.
This year, revisions from the Bureau of Labor Statistics show 911,000 fewer jobs were added to the U.S. economy from April 2024 to March of this year, which is the most ever recorded in a benchmark revision report. Other national stories KSL is following. Apple held its annual fall hardware event this afternoon. ABC's Mike Dubusky has a look at the latest iPhones that the company announced.
The new iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro both come with upgraded camera systems. A new square camera sensor on the base model allows for a wider field of view for selfies, which can now switch from portrait to landscape orientation without rotating the phone. The Pro, meanwhile, now comes with a telephoto lens that supports 8x zoom. Apple is also adding a new, slimmer iPhone to the lineup between the base model and the Pro, measuring just 5.6 millimeters thick. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment at the close. The Dow up by 196 points, ending at 45,711. S&P up by 17 points, and the NASDAQ up by 80 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Another crash, this time in Tooele County, northbound SR 36 Main Street in Erda. It's blocking a left lane of travel. Salt Lake County drivers, delays eastbound I-80 due to a crash after state and approaching 7th East. It's mostly to the right shoulder, but causing delays. And then in Utah County, we still have the road closed due to a multi-vehicle crash eastbound University Parkway at Sand Hill Road. You want to keep an eye out for emergency crews on the scene and avoid the area. Fall in Alta is here, and so is your exclusive locals offer. Snow Pine Lodge is giving Utah residents 20% off lodging. Get away from the daily hustle and enjoy mountain mornings and golden colors. Visit snowpine.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Slight chance of showers across the Wasatch Front for most of this week. 10% chance today. A lot of clouds out there right now. Pretty breezy. 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
At Your Service Pros is your whole home service maintenance pro with 5-star reviews. Get $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspection, $75 off repairs. At yourservicepros.com. This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
You need another bathroom. You want a back patio retreat. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A., member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
Fall is football season. Hi, this is Doug Wright. You know me as Utah's Mr. Sports, and I know that nothing goes better with fall football than looking forward to a delicious meal after the game at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. We're so fortunate we've got 2 locations, one in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple, or of course up in the Park City area at Hotel Park City. You can count on the meal prepared perfectly to your tastes. Each and every steak is served sizzling hot on a 500-degree plate, and if you happen to not be in the mood for steak, their entrees are incredible, from seafood to poultry. Sometimes they have specialty entrees on the menu, and of course their desserts are legendary, and the side dishes that you pass around the table to share are wonderful. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It's fall. It's time to enjoy football and a delicious meal from Ruth's Chris.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. New data today showing a downward trajectory for the country's students in reading, science, and math. Trouble in the classroom? We have special coverage on Midday. Let's begin with a look at the national data with ABC's Brian Clark.
High school seniors continued a downward trend in the First Nations report card taken since the pandemic.
In 2024, 78% of high school seniors were not proficient in math, and 65% of them were not proficient in reading.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon said this is occurring despite billions of dollars in K-12 spending.
Clearly, success isn't about how much money we spend, but who spends it.
She says that's why the Trump administration's committed to returning educational control to states. Brian Clark, ABC News.
President Trump also responding to the data today, saying his plan to return education back to the individual states will help not only raise test scores, but also provide more opportunities for parents to enrich the education of their children. I wanted to know how we're doing here in Utah. Are we seeing similar downward trends? I spoke to State Assistant Superintendent Darren Nielsen to find out more.
When we consider some of these other assessments that can be used to provide some comparison to other states, we see some positive information and trends in Utah. But that doesn't exclude us from the fact that our students are included to a small degree in that sampling that was used to get the assessment results that were released today by the NAEP.
Yeah, talk about those results for just a moment and what you saw as far as the Utah students that were looked at there.
Yeah, so that's a great point to note, and that is that with this 12th grade assessment, the sampling is small enough that NAEP doesn't provide state-level results. So we're unable to see how our students performed compared to students in other states on the 12th grade NAEP administration. It's only with their assessments in the 4th and 8th grade that they administer every other year for reading and math that we get actual state-level results. So we're unable to do that. And in our state, we don't administer an assessment to 12th graders across the state. I mean, 12th graders aren't immune from assessment. They take advanced placement tests, classroom tests, and so forth, but we don't have an assessment that we administer to all 12th grade students in the state of Utah.
But at the
so
same token, you said that we aren't immune from the numbers that we saw out today. And what concerns you about what you learned today?
Yeah, so the concerning thing would be when we drill into those numbers, we see that the students who are in our lowest 10th or 25th percentile on this assessment, and this is true with the other NAEP assessments, those students, the gap between them and the students in the 90th percentile is getting wider and wider. If you drill into these 12th grade NAEP assessment results, you'd see that the kids who are performing at the 90th percentile, they didn't see declines. That student group didn't see declines to the degree, or any declines actually. Yet the overall, when you combine and average the scores out, we see these noticeable and concerning declines in student achievement using this assessment measure. So that the students who are, I guess what I'm saying is the gap is widening. Our students who are being highly successful in our school settings, they continue to be successful, and even some could argue are as successful as any students we've ever had. And the students who are struggling or performing the lowest, they continue to struggle to degrees, and even expand that gap between the students who are doing the best and the students who are performing at the lowest levels.
But what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's when you consider that this is a national sampling, and so these are factors that are affecting students in every city and state across the country. There's theories about that. I haven't seen any research that can pinpoint what the exact causes are. I've read a lot about the effect of phones and social media on students. You've seen in our state and other states in the country starting to put restrictions on phones in the classroom setting, because we're starting to recognize how distracted, what level of distraction that creates in individuals to have their phone or device with us when we're in a setting where we're being asked to focus on content that requires us to struggle with to be able to learn and progress. You've also seen in Utah and also nationally concerns about chronic absenteeism and the significant number of students who miss a large number of days of academic instruction. In Utah, we've kicked off Everyday Counts, an initiative to try to help change and turn those things around with students. The number of students who are missing school so regularly. And then any other societal issues, that you find across communities in the country, those would also be potential variables that are impacting these things.
Yeah, so what can we learn from this, and what should we be doing to move forward?
Yeah, well, what we hope with the State Board of Education is that our students will, in all grades, these were our 12th grade students from last year. They were the students that were in 8th grade when the pandemic hit. Unfortunately, if you were to look at the NAEP data, even pre-pandemic, you were seeing some troubling concerns with the national data. But we hope that students in Utah will continue to prioritize, and their families prioritize education, attend school regularly, engage fully, work in partnership with our educators and teachers. I think the case could be made, and it would be challenged by this data, obviously, but I think the case could be made that we know more about instruction and learning, the science of that, than we ever have, certainly more than we did when I was a student in public education here in Utah. And the quality of our instruction, therefore, the amount of professional learning that we're able to provide, and the presence of instructional coaches that are working with teachers across our state in different schools is giving us promise that our instructional quality and curriculum materials are as high quality as we've ever seen. So to have some confidence in that. And then I think it's important, when you see these reports about data from either the state, the nation, or even your school, as a parent, hopefully it causes us each to take a closer look at the data we have on our own individual students' learning, and make sure we're attending to that and addressing any barriers or deficiencies that are showing up as quickly as we can. I know that would be a shared goal between the educator and the parent, hopefully to make sure we're meeting the needs of each and every student that we have here in the state of Utah.
Darren Nielsen is the state assistant superintendent. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
That leaf pile is 100 feet tall. Your dad can't handle this. Not without the right equipment.
Yard work piling up? Gear up for fall with John Deere. Get $750 off select mowers, $2,000 off select Gator UVs, and $3,000 off select compact tractors.
Did I hear your dad got a John Deere? Yep, bad day to be a leaf pile.
Gear up for fall at an authorized John Deere dealer, now through September 30th. Learn more at johndeere.com/gearupforfall.
Several crashes around the Wasatch Front recently have involved e-bikes. Many of these incidents quite serious. Conwood Heights Police actually issued an advisory last night on Facebook encouraging people who use e-bikes to be safer when they operate them. Assistant Chief of Police Chris McHugh tells Inside Sources that e-bikes can go quite fast, yet there aren't nearly as many regulations on the e-bikes as there are for cars.
An e-bicycle can be operated, and the classes are a little bit different. You have the pedal assist, which doesn't have a throttle, and then as they go up, the Class 2 and Class 3 have throttles. And, I mean, when you're traveling 28 miles an hour, you're exceeding the speed limit in a school zone at that point, and little kids walking around. And the crashes that we've seen have been pretty dramatic, and they've all been young kids that don't have any training to operate at these speeds that are causing crashes and becoming injured.
Now, McHugh says kids are dealing major damage to vehicles and property, and they don't have insurance.
On the e-motorcycles, if you street legal it, you would have to have insurance on it, which is the only way that you could actually operate like the Suron or some of the other e-motorcycle classes that don't have pedals and are actually dirt bikes for all intents and purposes. That would need insurance. But no, a lot of these people are putting their kids on an e-bicycle that can go 28 miles an hour, and there's they're crashing into cars, and they're becoming super injured, but they're also causing property damage to people's cars. And we had a little incident up here where kids were driving their e-bikes into people's garages, causing thousands of dollars worth of damage because it sounded like fun.
It's not just police who are concerned. People selling e-bikes are also concerned about a rise in crashes and injuries dealing with the bikes. Andy Van Patten manages Magnum Electric Bikes at Trolley Square and tells KSL5 TV's Debbie Worthen that he sees people coming in excited to buy an e-bike, but without thinking about important things like safety.
Absolutely. I think that some people come in and the safety part is on the last of, the back end of their mind. But the truth is we try and bring it to the forefront. We try and make sure that everyone knows the bikes go faster than a regular bike, so you want to have a nice helmet. You want to make sure that you have the mirrors and accessories that protect you in those situations. But really just educating the customer that you are now going to be on the road as a vehicle, and that you have to make sure that you are responsible for your own actions in the sense of where you're riding, making sure that it's allowed to be ridden there. And then on top of that, making sure that you're safe, you're following traffic laws. If you're in the bike lane, you're a vehicle on the road, so you have to make sure you're following that. Those are the big ones that we point out, and then just in general is to slow down and enjoy the ride, because honestly, that's the best part about riding a bike, is just to get the fresh air and to realize you don't have to be in the top level of assist and going fast all the time to have just as much fun.
Van Patten says there needs to be a greater emphasis on education.
I think that, first of all, it's really tragic anytime you see anything like that come across your feed, because honestly, you don't want to see that anywhere. But I think that education on who is allowed to ride the bikes and how fast they are allowed to go. There is a classification system in e-bikes where there are 3 different classifications. And as long as you're in those 3, it's considered a bicycle. But some e-bikes and brands out there on the market do exceed those classifications. They go faster than 28 miles an hour. Maybe they don't have pedals. Those are in a territory of like e-dirt bikes or e-mopeds. And so sometimes education on, again, if you're a younger child, younger than 18, if you're allowed to be riding something that is considered an e-moped, some of them are not street legal and they have to be licensed. So you have to be weary about what specs your actual bike come with, because that helps educate where the bike is allowed to be, as well as who can ride it.
You can get more information on how to safely ride an e-bike on our website, kslnewsradio.com. A growing need for kidney donations in Utah and around the country. We will go in depth on kidney transplants, including how pigs are helping after the break. But first, KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Crews are in the final cleanup stages in Orem of the earlier crash that completely shut down the road eastbound on University Parkway at Sand Hill Road. Right now, it looks like traffic is starting to get through the area, and we have crews still lingering on the scene to clear a crash eastbound I-80 at 7th East. These vehicles are over to the right shoulder. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
No parades, no confetti, just quiet wins that changed everything.
Real people, real results. Soda weight loss works. Just ask Ramon.
Tying my shoes without grunting, taking stairs without gasping, running around with my kids without needing a break. That's what Soda gave me. In 16 weeks, I dropped 82 pounds.
Let that sink in. He lost 82 pounds. That's amazing.
Think about all that weight lifted off your bones. I owe my life to Soda. That's not hyperbole. With Soda, you don't feel alone. You get your own nutritionist guiding you every step along the way.
What are you waiting for? Just imagine your friends and family's reactions when you show up at holiday parties 30, 40, 50 pounds lighter. Get started now for the best season of your life with our partner program. Because when you join now, your partner joins for free.
Go to sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. SodaWeightLoss.com. SodaWeightLoss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
At Peach Windows and Doors, they help homeowners stay in the homes they love while upgrading to the elegance, efficiency, and natural light of today. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, their clients know Peach Windows and Doors deliver what they promise.
I wanted to replace standard-sized French doors with a large custom sliding door. The update required checking a weight-bearing wall. Plus, I wanted a couple of different styles of windows. The new sliding door created a much brighter and open look. Peach was so helpful along the way with recommendations and ideas, and the installers were efficient and respectful of my space. I was thrilled with Peach Windows and Doors.
Give your $1 million home the $1 million feel it deserves. Don't wait on that someday project. Visit Peach Windows and Doors Salt Lake Showroom. Schedule a free in-home visit. You can also explore at peachwindowsanddoors.com or just call them at 801-566-1255. Peach Windows and Doors, where amazing home transformations begin.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states, as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app. It's sponsored by At Your Service Pros. And encouraging development in organ transplants that could eventually shorten some patients' wait for donor organs. Doctors in Boston have successfully performed 3 separate transplants of kidneys into humans. And now the FDA is giving the green light for clinical trials. The FDA green light means 30 patients nationwide will now be able to receive a genetically modified pig kidney. With more than 90,000 Americans in need of kidney transplants, I spoke with Luz Perez from the National Kidney Foundation of Utah to learn why so many people are in need of a kidney transplant.
It's because everybody in America has both diabetes or high blood pressure. So unfortunately, what leads to kidney failure are very common comorbidities. High blood pressure and diabetes are the 2 most leading causes of kidney failure. And as a result, the number of people on the transplant waiting list who need a kidney have the most common comorbidities. And so there are kidney diseases, of course, that are genetic, but primarily it is untreated diabetes or untreated high blood pressure that leads kidneys to become scarred, and then they lose their porous filtration that allows for all of the toxins to leave your body, usually as urine. If you start collecting, your body collects all of those toxins, and they go into your tissues instead of out of your body, exiting as urine. So that's why there's so many people who need a kidney.
Those numbers that I gave are national numbers. How many people need a kidney here in Utah?
So currently there's between 3,000 and 4,000 people. There's a large number of people in Utah that we won't know about because unfortunately the national numbers in terms of who dies while they're waiting for the kidney transplant, we can't give you finite numbers because very unfortunately many people die while they're on the list. But currently today in Utah, there are 3,000 to 4,000 people on dialysis, and there are 400 to 500 people on the organ transplant waiting list. And of course, going back to your own data, 86% of those 500 people on the organ waiting list need a kidney, about 100.
Describe for me what it's like to donate a kidney, because this is an organ you can live without one kidney, right?
So yeah, you can live without a kidney, and your one remaining kidney, if you're able to donate a kidney to a loved one or a family member, oftentimes your remaining kidney, similar to the liver that regenerates, your remaining kidney kind of doubles in size, or it gets a little bit bigger, and it actually over a few years after the kidney transplant that you've taken the kidney and donated your kidney, your remaining kidney can actually grow in size and increase in function. So yes, you can absolutely live with one kidney. Senator Jake Garn donated his kidney to his daughter Susan in the early 90s. And that man is now 90 years old and still going around walking, talking, and doing all of the things, circled the earth on a space shuttle. You can live without one kidney. And so, yes, we would hope more people, especially those who have family members who are on dialysis, might consider living donation.
So why do you think more people don't actually donate a kidney?
I think that people don't consider themselves to be healthy enough sometimes, or if they have somebody in their family who has a genetic reason, like they have high blood pressure or diabetes, they feel like maybe they're not healthy enough to be an organ donor. I think there's also fear. People don't love the idea of going under the knife to do surgery, but in relation to the loved one who needs that kidney, sometimes people can be moved. If you know how terrible it is to be on dialysis, you might reconsider how important it is to donate a kidney. We have incredible numbers of people in Utah actually giving their kidney as Samaritan donors. At the Kidney Foundation, we make referrals to Donor Connect almost weekly for people who are interested in becoming living kidney donors. So while there is still the need for more kidney donors, like again, in the state of Utah, we only get 50 to 70 living kidney donors every year for the 500 Utahns that are on the transplant waiting list. But Donor Connect can help you walk through that process. You can call the Kidney Foundation. You can even chat GPT. You can go to the Kidney Foundation, kidney.org for information. But we'd love more living kidney donors. And, this story is being driven by the fact that in larger markets such as Boston and New York, the FDA is approving xenotransplantation, which is where people are receiving pig kidneys as an alternative to being on the waiting list for 3 to 5 years, which tells you the great need that we have for organ donors. They're starting to turn to animal kidneys, specifically pig kidneys, so that people don't have to wait and lose their cardiovascular health, their bone density, and all of the other things that happen when they go on dialysis. So it's a decent alternative.
Unfortunately, she says the modified animal organs don't last as long as a human kidney donation. A human kidney gives the patient up to 15 years, while a pig kidney may last only 2. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Federal government now ordering ICE to keep many immigrants in custody without an option for bond. We'll get details. Gen Z adults turning to more blue-collar jobs. We'll find out why. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
The final cleanup of a crash eastbound I-80 near 7th East on the right. Maria?
KSL's top local stories this hour. A woman who pleaded guilty to luring her estranged husband to her mother's home in Utah County so he could be murdered will serve up to life in prison. Catherine Rastelli pleaded guilty to murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and discharge of a firearm, and got the maximum sentence for those 3 charges today. They'll run consecutively. In court, she apologized, but the judge referred to testimony from a friend who said hours after that murder, she was already getting ready for a date. The K-9 officer wounded in an attack on police in Tremonton is being reunited with the team that saved her life. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Azula was airlifted by Intermountain's Health Flight and Ambulance Team. It specializes in transporting injured public safety animals. Operational K-9 lead Darby Earl says their helicopters are equipped with life-saving K-9 equipment.
Some of our operational canines are located and are working in very rural areas, and for them to have access to critical care is quite difficult.
Deputy Mike Allred was shot that night and survived. He says Deputy Kennedy was instrumental in saving Azula's life.
He made the call to dispatch to get the bird in the air for Azula. And I'm very grateful for him for doing that.
He added that Azula is recovering well and is already driving him crazy. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. The state health department says several people were exposed to and infected with measles at Soldier Hollow last month. About 2,000 people were in attendance at a Utah high school cycling event, and they were potentially exposed. State health officials say they're working now to contact families to let them know what to watch for. The event was August 16th, and symptoms usually take a week or two to show up. More people die while driving on a straight road than any other type of maneuver. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more on some new research.
Injury experts say people relax more behind the wheel when they're on a straight thoroughfare. They believe that makes drivers feel comfortable enough to look at their phones or text during that time, which leads to deadly consequences. The info comes from the injury law firm James A. Welcome, based in Connecticut, using accident data from NHTSA.
Now, the research also found the fewest amount of deaths happen when people are in more complex driving situations. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow was up 196 points, sitting at 45,711. S&P up by 17 points, and the NASDAQ, it was up by 81 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Crews are still working to clear this crash in Tooele County. This is on SR 36 Main Street going northbound in Erta. The issue is the vehicles are to the right, but the construction work going on there is kicking up a lot of dust in the area. You may run into a cloud of dust with some reduced visibility. We also have the clearing of the crash eastbound I-80 near 7th East, out of traffic on the right shoulder, and traffic already getting a little busy and slow already southbound I-15 for the drive home from the south interchange to about 90th South. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show, September 11th through the 14th at Mountain America Expo Center. Visit UtahRVSupershow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Clouds sticking with us for most of the week. We do have a slight chance of showers each day. The greatest chance coming on Friday, where there's a 40% chance. That's also the day the high temperature drops down into the 70s. Right now, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $321 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Department of Justice has ruled immigrants who enter the country without a legal status can now be held in ICE custody without the option of posting a bond to get out. KSL News Radio's Adam Small explains.
Normally, an immigrant in ICE custody can be given the option of posting a bond to get out if a judge finds they're not dangerous or a flight risk. But now, under this latest ruling from the DOJ's Board of Immigration Appeals, if you enter the country without a legal status and you're taken in by ICE, bond is no longer an option. Utah Immigration Attorney Adam Craig tells me this leaves them with the choices of staying in custody for months or being taken to the airport without being able to get their affairs in order.
So if they own a house or if they have children who are born here or citizens and they are the primary caregiver, then we have to scramble to try and get a power of attorney done, or we have to, it causes all sorts of scrambling, and then it places a lot of burden on the system.
Craig says he believes this ruling harms due process, and he also worries this will cause more overcrowding at detention facilities. He says appeals are coming and could very likely end up before the U.S. Supreme Court. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We've reached out to our local ICE officials and immigration prosecutors who say that they cannot comment on this. We are still waiting for a response from federal ICE officials. A K-9 officer who was wounded in the line of duty was reunited today with the team that saved her life. Azula and her handler, Box Elder County Sheriff's Deputy Mike Allred, were both wounded the same night. 2 Tremonton officers were shot and killed while responding to a domestic call. Today, Allred says he's extremely grateful to the team who made sure that Azula can continue to be the best girl.
As far as Azula's recovery, I think 2 days after, she was ready to work again and was driving me completely up the wall. We have since we did a good training yesterday, and she was able to knock it out of the park. Like, it was nothing to her, and I'm sure she thinks nothing ever happened, but yeah, she did great in her detection work and tracking. And I need to thank Deputy Kennedy also. Yeah, come up here. He makes me uncomfortable all the time, so it's his turn. So, Deputy Kennedy, when he got to the scene, was instrumental, along with other canine handlers in the county, with Brigham City, Tremonton. He made the call to dispatch to get the bird in the air for Azula. And I'm very grateful for him for doing that. I appreciate that. And since this has happened, a bond is created with these two, which wasn't there before. Every once a month he might get a little nudge, but that was about it. And she has turned into what'd you call it? An emotional. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this is new and this is good.
Azula appeared happy and energetic alongside her care team today. You could see 3 places where they shaved her fur to remove bullets. Allred says she's already doing better enough to drive him crazy. We are following some breaking news here at KSL. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear President Trump's appeal on whether or not he has power to impose sweeping tariffs. It comes after the High Court also agreed to keep the president's funding freeze in place that threatens billions of dollars in foreign aid. No word yet on when the court will hear the case dealing with the tariffs, but we'll be sure to let you know as soon as we know more. A healthy mind matters, and here on Midday, we continue to talk about the important topic of suicide prevention. Unfortunately, the stigma surrounding suicide and mental health makes many people feel awkward or uncomfortable talking about it. Now, that can prevent people from asking for help if they need it as well. I spoke with board-certified physician Dr. Christopher Valentine to find out who is most at risk here in Utah.
Well, really, it can affect all kinds of demographics, all kinds of risk factors, but really we're very concerned about teen suicide, particularly amongst young people with depression. There are also a lot of individuals, young people who identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual who might have a higher prevalence, and other affected groups like veterans, as well as people who work in mining and construction.
So what are some of the common signs and risk factors?
We're concerned about individuals that are more withdrawn. I think that there are a lot of different risk factors that can contribute to this, a lot more than we can discuss here, but some of the top ones would be substance use, bullying, social isolation, violence in the community, maybe having a history of mental health issues or a previous suicide attempt. Any of these can contribute to an elevated risk for suicide.
It is kind of tough, kind of awkward to have conversations around mental health and suicide, especially with children. How do we best go about that?
That's a good point. It is very difficult sometimes. Maybe this is already part of the conversation that you have in your families, but if it's not, it can be hard to initiate some of these conversations. And so really starting and inquiring and just asking about how your kids are doing when we're talking about teens. I know my own experience with my own teens and being able to kind of keep that open dialogue, which is harder, I realize, in this age group, but we have some tools that are some good conversation starters that can make it easier for parents or other family members to start a conversation. This is available at optumconversation.com, OPTUM conversation.com. It's just a free resource. It has a bunch of kind of conversation questions to ask about your teen, about what are things that they're anxious about or what are some of the things that they look forward to.
That is Dr. Christopher Valentine, a Draper-based physician. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
For years, the push on young people was to go to college and leave with a high-paying white-collar job. The world has changed over the last decade or so, and that's not always the best advice anymore. Gen Z young adults are seeing that shift, so now they're seeking out more blue-collar jobs like construction. Construction companies are seeing more applicants who are Gen Z or those born between 1997 and 2021. Joey Gilbert, president of Associated General Contractors of Utah, says it's not surprising that young adults are looking for more fulfilling jobs that don't require a four-year degree.
Truly, the Gen Z generation truly values meaningful work. And, building roads, bridges, schools, and homes really provides that that meaningful and lasting impact that they're seeing with what they're able to accomplish. And so to have this Gen Z generation that really wants to have an impact in the communities in which they live, construction really is able to provide that, where they can say, hey, I built that, and what I built has an impact on society and what we're able to offer communities that we build.
Gilbert tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi construction jobs are also more secure and they pay better than many other industries.
Construction is a unique career that individuals can pursue that will always be there. One of the things that I have an opportunity to do as I visit with middle school students, high school students, is I talk about really what are the true careers and career paths out there that will always be needed. You think of the medical industry, and you think of the service industries and those types of folks. I always will say there will always be a need for construction. We will always need roads built, schools built, things put into place to make our societies great. And so to have a career choice in life where you're always going to have a need and a demand, that is an incredible opportunity and path where they're always just going to have that job security if you have the skills and ability and the know-how to do construction. So not only is there going to be a great demand for construction, but it's going to be a lucrative career where you can actually make an affordable wage and living.
He says more young women are also excited about learning a trade. This is a pretty cool development since these kinds of occupations were traditionally frowned upon for women and girls.
Where we invite young women that are in high school that have an interest in construction to come and explore what that might look like. It's a 3-day program that we host throughout the summer. And each and every year we get statewide here in Salt Lake, and then we have an office in St. George as well. But we get a number of young ladies that want to come in and learn about the trades and are excited about the trades. And then as they leave this camp experience that we do throughout the summer, they're enthusiastic, and I can tell you they're incredible workers and do a terrific job. And I know that they're looking at and pursuing, in most cases, those opportunities to pursue construction. So certainly an interest, I would say, from the women and more women seeking opportunities in the construction industry for sure.
He says Gen Z is also looking for fields that won't be replaced by AI.
As you look at AI and automation that are kind of reshaping a lot of industries, trades like construction will always require skilled hands, sharp minds. I mean, you really can't automate pouring concrete or installing power lines. And I think that's why the trades continue to be some of the most kind of resilient and future-proof careers out there as youth are looking at what path do they pursue. And I can tell you there is a path and a career path in construction for these young people.
Gilbert says the industry is changing rapidly with new technologies that require problem solving, critical thinking, and decision making. From Kansas to Las Vegas by way of Oz. More on how the Las Vegas Sphere is really taking people on a journey next. But first, KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
They're still getting this cleared, but right now crews have blocked off that right lane of traffic from the crash eastbound I-80 by 7th East. The good news is no delays. Where you'll see slowdowns, that's northbound I-15 going from just before Warm Springs Road, 2300 north up to the North Interchange in North Salt Lake. From system install to fast fixes to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you crash your car, you get it fixed. When your computer crashes, you get a new one. But what will you do if you've been saving in a 401k or an IRA and the market crashes? If you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll be just fine. But if you're in or near retirement, you could be in trouble. Mike Stevens and his team at Capital Wealth Advisors are here to help. They can run a risk analysis to see if you're too heavily invested in the market. Don't let the ups and downs of Wall Street control you or your retirement dreams. Call 801-210-5500 today to schedule your risk analysis with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors. That's 801-210-5500. Crashes happen. Question is, are you ready? Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well,
I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
1847. Our home Utah takes shape. A century later, Utah's home champion is born. Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has earned the trust of over 250,000 Utah homeowners, with techs who rise above to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Championing the spirit of 47, Whipple is offering $47 off any home repair or service, including drain clearings. Act now and call Whipple Service Champions at 801-896-1947 for the win today.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Toto, I don't think we're in a normal movie theater anymore. So says ABC's Start Here podcast host Brad Milkey after new showings of the classic The Wizard of Oz have taken the Las Vegas Sphere viewers over the rainbow.
The Wizard of Oz has been one of America's most popular movies ever since it was released, and yet somehow it's recently become an even bigger hit at the Sphere in Las Vegas. You've probably heard of the Sphere, a huge ball-shaped concert venue right off the Strip. It's new, it's modern, it's air-conditioned, but most importantly, it's got an absolutely gigantic series of screens taking up a whole side of the building. You see companies bragging about their 4K TVs. This screen is 16K, and it dominates your field of vision, to the point where if U2 is performing in front of an image of the desert, you feel like you are in the desert. If Fish are playing, you are inside a psychedelic trip. And now that The Wizard of Oz is playing on this big screen, you feel like you are walking the yellow brick road itself. Audiences have been flocking to these showings like flying monkeys, to the point where some financial forecasters have completely revised their expectations for what this type of venue is capable of. See, when you watch The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, you're seeing more than just a movie. They use wind and smoke to recreate a tornado in the middle of the arena. Apples and monkeys descend from the ceiling. It's a so-called 4D experience, which has sold hundreds of thousands of tickets already this year at $120-something a piece. Let me repeat that. People are spending well over $100 a pop to see an 85-year-old movie. Late last week, the financial analysts from Wolf Research published a paper telling clients they now expect Sphere to be among the world's most profitable companies. Keep in mind, many have thought of this $2.3 billion building as a colossal waste of money. So what changed? Well, first of all, hosting a movie is a lot cheaper than hosting bands. Wolf says Sphere is paying $100 million for the rights to Wizard of Oz and will probably make many more times that in the years to come. So why not add Harry Potter films, Star Wars? They're reportedly in the works. Secondly, in this venue, you don't necessarily have to choose. You can screen several films during the day and still host U2 at night. Since all the backgrounds are virtual, you don't even need the whole day to load in. More tickets, more money. And finally, Wolf says this is the biggest thing. a band can only appear in one place at a time. A digital experience can happen anywhere, and there are more spheres on the way. Sphere Abu Dhabi is in the works. Others won't be far behind. And while it cost a lot to build the first one, that's because a lot of their technology is one of a kind. Once you know how to build that indoor tornado, though, it's much cheaper to duplicate it. And this leads to the biggest question. Is this the future of moviegoing?
Showings of The Wizard of Oz will continue nearly daily through the end of March, but that's an insane amount of money for those tickets. Finally on Midday, a look at the latest announcements from Apple today.
This is Midday executive producer Andy Cupp. Unbeknownst to Maria, this story is not about the latest iPhone. In fact, it's a special little thing we threw together in honor of Maria's birthday.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Maria, happy birthday to you.
Maria, you are one of the smartest people I know and one of the most dedicated journalists. I've learned so much from you over my 17 years here at KSL, and I'm looking forward to whatever interactions we have in the future because you are a gem, and I'm glad you're in my life. Hope you have a fabulous birthday.
Happy birthday, Maria.
Happy birthday, Maria. This is Corey. Just wanted to say we all love you so much, and you bring so much joy and laughter to the station. And I just really appreciate getting to work with you every day. Love ya.
We've become friends over the past 10 years, which means we've been around each other for 10 birthdays now, and I've watched you grow wiser as time goes on. More relaxed, more laid back. I'm just kidding, messing around. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Maria. We miss you in the afternoon doing our national news desk, but you've been doing amazing things with Midday and can't wait to see how it keeps going, and grateful for you and all you do.
Maria, it's Kevin, wishing you not just a happy birthday, but the best Greek celebration that money can buy.
Happy birthday, Maria. We love you, and we love the experience and joy and just friendliness that you bring to the newsroom. Thanks for all you do.
Happy birthday, Maria. KSL wouldn't be what it is without you. Getting to work with you so closely on Midday has been such a joy. I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, we all love you, and we are so supportive of you and everything you do.
Maria, I won't say you're old, but you'll always be older than me. Happy birthday, dear friend.
What a special day when you were born that we are able to enjoy it now. You truly are one of a kind, a perfectionist on the broadcast airwaves, and we're lucky to have you. Happy birthday, Maria.
You rock, Maria.
Oh my goodness. Andy, you're dead. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm almost speechless. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
When you were...
You take over, will you?
No, when you were done cursing, you started getting a little misty there.
I did. I mean, is this like my retirement party?
No, this just makes
lovely.
getting
that
older
was so lovely.
worth it.
Right. I wasn't paying attention to this birthday.